Welcome to this explainer. If you found yourself here reading this title, there's a really good chance you're right in the middle of a massive internal shift. Today, we're diving into the Guide Survival Playbook. Think of this explainer as your personal mentor, because honestly, if you're tuning in, you're probably waking up to the generational lies, the subtle manipulation, and those toxic dynamics you were either born into or conditioned to just accept. You've been scanning the room, analyzing your environment, and it finally hit you. You're actually not the problem.
Listen to this quote. "You didn't run from the wound, you became the flame." It's powerful, right? Because this right here is the absolute core of your journey. I want to validate that incredibly painful internal path you've been walking. All that trauma you endured, that intense isolation you felt, it literally didn't destroy you, it revealed you. It burned away the illusions and sparked this profound spiritual awakening that you're stepping into right at this very moment.
Okay, let's dive into this. There's always this one defining moment in this journey, isn't there? It's that moment when you just stop accepting the emotional chaos, the gaslighting, and the endless drama as normal. You finally hit pause, look around at the matrix of your family or your social circle, and ask the absolute hardest question. Wait, who actually built this system? And let me tell you, that single question is exactly what terrifies the people trying to control you.
Because what you were really looking at all along is generational mind control. It's basically inherited dysfunction that gets totally disguised as tradition or, culture. In these deeply flawed family systems, your natural curiosity, it's treated like a full-blown rebellion. You were conditioned through guilt, fear, and the constant need for approval to just sit down and obey. So I want to validate right now that figuring this out, unraveling this whole concept all by yourself, was an act of massive, massive courage.
So in this explainer, we're going to treat this like a step-by-step mentorship session. We'll cover waking up to the lie, reading hidden energy shifts, recognizing archetypes of family manipulation, moving from victim to awakened observer, using the arsenal of strategic silence, and finally, protecting your personal peace.
Let's jump straight into Section 1, waking up to the lie, and really learning to trust your own confusion.
And this brilliantly illustrates how this awakening doesn't just happen overnight in some flashy movie montage. It's a grueling, honestly exhausting process of enduring the truth in real time. Just look at this timeline. It starts on day 1 with noticing these tiny inconsistencies, like the math just doesn't math, right? Then weeks later, you're just sitting quietly with this raw, isolated confusion. Months turn into years as you decode the guilt trips and that weaponized loyalty, until you finally unravel the illusion entirely. You basically gather these puzzle pieces in total privacy, breaking all the unspoken laws of your toxic environment.
Moving on to Section 2, reading hidden energy shifts, or as I like to call it, translating vibes into actionable data.
This is the stage where you finally stopped listening to those performative, empty words and started feeling the actual truth underneath. The playbook calls this spiritual intelligence. It's this profound ability to read deeper frequencies, hidden intentions, and energy shifts way beyond logical proof or surface-level acting. And this incredible awareness, it didn't come from a textbook. It came from pure spiritual survival. It's exactly what allows you to know who's playing games without ever needing to catch them red-handed.
Let's look at the signals that the mask is actually slipping. You know the ones. Those sudden, totally unexplained changes in tone, the hidden bitterness, or that really quiet jealousy. Oh, and those passive-aggressive comments that they quickly try to play off as just a joke. Guilt trips disguised to look like genuine concern. And maybe most importantly, dealing with energy that desperately wants your peace but wants absolutely zero accountability. Look, I need to remind you, picking up on these subtle social shifts is not paranoia, for sure. It is your inner truth functioning perfectly to protect you.
All right, Section 3, archetypes of family manipulation. This is where we recognize the players in the matrix.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we can break down these specific players. Because what toxic family members love to rebrand as just, cute personality quirks is actually a carefully constructed defense system for control. We've got the charming narcissist who uses humor and compliments to get close just to drain you. Your awakened defense? Step back and name the pattern as abuse, not charisma. Then there's the passive-aggressive relative, throwing out low-key insults and weaponized silence to keep you confused. Your defense here is calm detachment, just absolutely refuse to accommodate the dysfunction. And finally, the spiritual manipulator, who uses mystical language or Bible verses to shame you into submission. The defense? Trusting your own internal discernment over their external authority. Identifying them like this instantly breaks their spell over you.
Which brings us to Section 4, victim versus awakened observer.
This is a critical mindset shift.
To actually survive betrayal from those archetypes without losing your mind, you need a massive internal shift. You have to move from reacting to observing. See, a victim's reaction is to seek closure, demand apologies, and react emotionally to guilt trips just to prove their good intentions. But the awakened observer, they operate completely differently. They observe the pattern silently. They alchemize the betrayal into direction, and they detach without ever needing an apology. The awakened observer literally uses the manipulator's actions as a GPS for their own healing rather than a reason to stay stuck in shame.
And that leads to one of the hardest, but honestly most liberating truths you'll ever hear. It's totally okay to be the villain in someone else's story if it means being the hero in your own. Let go of the need to control the manipulator's narrative about you. Let them tell whatever story helps them sleep at night. Giving up that control is the ultimate key to claiming real, undeniable freedom.
Next up is Section 5, the arsenal of strategic silence, where you master your defense.
So, the crucial point is, once you stop fighting their narrative, you can deploy playing dumb as a highly effective strategic tool rather than a sign of weakness. Step 1. Just stay silent and let them believe you're naive. Step 2. Mentally record all their little contradictions and mood shifts. Step 3. Observe how they magically switch up their personality depending on who's in the room. And Step 4. Move smart. Withdraw your access without any warning or dramatic exit. You basically let them expose themselves while you safely, quietly memorize their entire playbook.
When you do that, your energy allocation shifts entirely. Look at this breakdown. Now 50% goes to healing and solitude, 30% goes to your inner truth and alignment, and 20% to maintaining your boundaries. People might call you isolated, but this isn't a breakdown. To put in perspective, this is a highly strategic blueprint for unplugging from toxic distractions so you can rebuild your private empire in absolute peace.
Finally, we arrive at Section 6, protecting your personal peace and defending your new reality. Now that you've claimed your sovereignty, you have to defend it daily. And that starts with taking the weaponized labels your toxic environment threw at you and completely reframing them. When they called you too sensitive, that actually meant you read hidden energy accurately. Too intense? That just meant your presence demanded realness they couldn't fake. Too quiet? Meant you simply refused to be manipulated. And too weird? Well, that just meant you wouldn't die in their constructed tiny little box. These aren't flaws, you guys. These are your divine signatures and superpowers. So to maintain this on a daily basis, here's a really simple routine for when you leave a toxic space. First, disconnect entirely. Second, sit quietly with any raw discomfort or pain. Don't run from it. Third, ask yourself, what is this trying to show me? And finally, realize that you are sovereign and you answer to absolutely no middleman. When you walk in this truth, a manipulator's lies automatically tremble in your presence.
Because here is the beautiful reality. You didn't expose them with loud arguments or gathering screenshots or begging people to see your side. Your evolution did it for you. You don't need a public stage, a title, or some wild revenge plot. Literally just existing authentically and walking in your truth disrupts the entire energetic structure of their toxic environment.
I want you to burn this number into your mind right now. 0. 0 is the exact number of apologies you owe anyone for prioritizing your peace. And 0 is the amount of validation you need from the very people who actively tried to break you.
You were the prophecy they laughed at, right up until the exact moment it came true. They totally underestimated you, and by doing so, gave you the perfect cover to figure it all out. So I'll leave you with this final thought. What will you build now that you are completely, unapologetically free? Your healing is just the beginning. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Keep protecting your peace.